Shalom, everybody. This class this time is Insights in Pesach, Bezrat Hashem, because we all need a boost in preparing ourselves as much as we can for the amazing Pesach experience, especially the night of the Seder night, Bezrat Hashem. We'd like to go into the 4 cups of wine. Really, there are 5 cups. And let's take a look. First of all, the sages revealed that we do the 4 cups of wine, that we do part of the Haggadah, corresponding to the 4 languages of redemption. What are these 4 languages of redemption? Let's take a look at the Chumash. Chumash Parshat Va'era, when Hashem is reiterating to Moshe Rabbeinu what his intent is in getting the Jews out of Egypt and how he wants to do it, and the wording Hashem uses in extracting the Jews from Egypt to bring them back to the Holy Land. So Parshat Va'era, in the book of Shemot, chapter 6, verses 6, 7, and 8. Let's take a look here. So this is now after Moshe Rabbeinu complained at the end of the Parshat Shemot. Hashem is reinforcing Moshe Rabbeinu to do his job and to get the Jews out. So he says to him like this, verse number 6, Lachen emor livnei Yisrael. So therefore, tell to the children of Israel, Ani Hashem, I am Hashem. Vehotzeiti etchem mitachat sivlot Mitzrayim, and I will take you out. I will be taking Vehotzeiti. It's like in the past tense, as if it's done already. Vehotzeiti etchem, I will be taking you out. I've taken you out from under the sevel, the burden of Egypt. Vehitzalti etchem ma'avodatam, and I will hatzala. I will rescue you from their work. Vega'alti etchem bizroa netuya uvishvatim gdolim, and I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and with a lot of miracles and wonders in order to punish the big wonders of miracles to punish the Egyptians. That's verse 6. So here we have the 3 initial languages of the 4. We had Vehotzeiti, Vehitzalti, Vega'alti. Now the 4th one, verse number 7, Velakachti etchem li le'am, and I will take, lakachti, you, for me to be a nation. Veheiveiti lachem le'elohim, and I will be to you, the Jewish people, a God, the Lord. V'yidatem ki ani Hashem Elokechem, and then you will know that I am Hashem your Lord. Hamotzi etchem mitachat sivlot Mitzrayim, who took you out, who released you from under the burden of Egypt. And then verse number 8 has this 5th language wording. Veheiveiti etchem el haaretz, and I will bring you to the land. Asher nasati et yadi, in which I swore, I took an oath, raising my hand. Latet ota l'Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, to give it to Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. V'natati ota lachem, and I will give it to you, morasha, an inheritance. I am Hashem, Ani Hashem, to keep his word, okay? So the sages learn out that we do the 4 cups of wine on the night of the Seder to represent each one of the 4 languages of redemption here. Vehotzeiti, okay, and I will take you out from under the burden of Egypt. That's corresponding to the 1st cup of wine, which is recited at Kadesh. In the Seder of the night of Pesach, we start with Kadesh, which translates as Kiddush. We do Kiddush or the 1st cup of wine, where we say Bar Pia Gefen, and we say Mikadesh Yisrael Havazman. We sanctify entering the Yom Tov of Pesach by saying Mikadesh, he who sanctifies Israel and the times, to sanctify that time for Israel, together with Israel together. So that's Vehotzeiti, that's the 1st cup. The 2nd cup, which is Vehitzalti etchem, and I will rescue. The rescuing is the 2nd cup of wine, which is recited at the end of Magid. Magid, which is telling over. It's the big bulk of the Haggadah. It's the telling over of the whole story of how we got to leave Egypt and the miracles and wonders. And it ends with a bracha, right? The bracha is Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher ge'alanu, right? Even though it's Vehitzalti, there's a Ga'al, there's a redemption. He mentioned Ga'alti, but it's still the 2nd cup. So Vehitzalti, the rescuing, is by Magid, because by just already telling over the miracles that Hashem did in redeeming us, that's considered rescuing. That's already the beginning of rescue. Even though there's not redemption yet, it's still a rescuing. It's the beginning stage. Okay, the third cup, which is Vega'alti, is after Barech, which is Birkat Hamazon. We say the third cup of wine on benching, on Birkat Hamazon. And there's the blessings of, the Hazan et Hakol, Ala Aretz Vel Hamazon, Bonei Yerushalayim, the blessings that we praise Hashem, in a sense. And that's corresponding to to Vega'alti, the redeeming, that Hashem redeemed us with an outstretched arm. So the redemption here is on the third cup of Barech, okay? And then finally, Hallel. The fourth cup is after the Hallel. When we say bracha there also, Baruch Ata Hashem melech me'olal batishbachot, and we say a blessing on the fourth cup, that's Velakachti. And I will take you. Lakachti etchem, I will take you and bring you close to me, that I should be your God, you should be a nation to me, and I will be your Lord. So that's the fourth cup. So now the sages, the commentaries, they say there's also a fifth cup, but we don't have the capacity to do it because it never happened yet. We're waiting for it to happen. And that corresponds to the fifth cup of Eliyahu Navi. We pour a cup for Eliyahu. We don't drink it. We leave it for Eliyahu Navi. And we don't have the capacity for that because it's something that we're still waiting to happen. And that's corresponding to verse number 8. Veheiveiti etchem ala aretz, and I will bring you back to the land. Because so long as Mashiach is not here, officially, even though Baruch Hashem, Jews are returning to the Holy Land, but we need the finalization with Mashiach here, Bezrat Hashem, and then it can be solidified that we're actually here. And all the Jews who are in the diaspora still will come back to the Holy Land. So because we haven't had that yet fulfilled, that's technically the fifth cup, but we don't say a blessing over it. It's not an obligatory cup like the first four. There's no bracha sent over it. We just have the custom. It's a custom to pour a cup for Eliyahu Navi, and that's corresponding to Veheiveiti. Okay? So technically, there's 4 plus 1 languages of redemption. Of them, 4, we have the 4 cups, which I know the 4 cups of Pesach. That's the halacha. Everyone has to drink the 4 cups. And there's the 5th one, which is not optional, but it's in the hands of it's beyond our reach, beyond our capacity. And that's considered the cup of Eliyahu Navi, that we're waiting for the Mashiach to come. So, these 5, 4 plus 1, believe it or not, correspond to the 5 advices given by Rebbe Nachman to build happiness. Even when happiness is not there, these 5, this 4 plus 1 of the night of Pesach is meant to help every Jew throughout his life, throughout his year, to activate one of the 4, or really one of the 5, ways of being happy. They are, Rebbe Nachman lists them. Number 1, it's called mili, telling jokes, acting silly. Rebbe Nachman says in his book Sichot Haran and also in Likutey Moharan that people today are so messed up, people are so upside down, that the only way to get people happy out of the depression, it seems, is only through acting silly and telling jokes. Yes, it's something positive and something which is exalted by Rebbe Nachman, because again, compared to and seeing how miserable people are in their situations and they're so down and depressed, the only way to get them out is by telling even a silly and stupid joke, but it gets them to be laughing and cracking up in happiness. And even though the happiness is fake, it's enough to begin to help a person to activate true happiness, which is only happiness connected to the mitzvot. Okay, so mili d'shtuta is one of Rabbi Nachman's main way. He says, like, this is the opening. This is the entering point to come to true simcha by most people, is by acting silly and telling jokes. That's called mili d'shtuta. Number 2 is to give thanks to Hashem, to appreciate the good that you see that Hashem has done for you, and you recognize it, and you verbalize it. Hoda'ah means to confess, to admit, to admit to it, which is through speech, admission, and also to praise. Hoda'ah, to give thanks, it has 2 meanings in it. And that's the idea of speech, the faculty of speech and expression, of the goodness, the kindness, that recognizing it. This is a big way to come to true joy. When you thank Hashem and you value even the tiny things which seem insignificant, but compared to where a person is standing in life and he feels already so insignificant, so automatically everything is above him, so he can give thanks even for the tiny things and have a value for him because he feels lower than them. So by giving thanks to Hashem about them, it lifts him up because it's above him. Everything is above the person, so he can give thanks even for the tiny things. Number 3 is finding your good points. It's one thing to thank Hashem for the good, but now nekudot tova, what you have, your good points, and to be happy about the good. I'm not as bad as I thought. I'm not as miserable. I have this, I have that. To fight this mental battle of the evil trying to always say to a person, you're this, you're that, you're a nobody, you're never going to make it. And you fight back, but I did this and I have that. And he says, nah, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't have no value because look at it. And so Rebbe Nachman says, still, it has some good point in it. It's a battle in the mind, in the subconscious, between finding the good and finding the bad. And he said to work on finding the good is a way how to bring you to true joy and to grab onto it. It's not easy, but it is a way for simcha. That's number 3. Number 4 is movement. Put on music, dance, sing, clap your hands, move those legs, okay? Get in a happy attitude of physical exertion. I don't want to say necessarily exercise, but movement gets a person to be happy, especially with music on, singing and dancing, okay? It gets a person feeling uplifted when he hears and sings or sings good music and claps and dances to it. It gets a person really, really energized for simcha. And the final one, which is really hard and it's far, but it's the ultimate level of simcha, is when a person connects to the simcha of the future. That you know that in the end, you believe and know in the end everything's going to work out. So if everything's going to work out in the end, why are you so down? If you know that everything's going to work out, Hashem's going to have his way, and all the energy that you put to come close to him will be paid back, and nothing goes to waste. Like the Zohar says, there's no good thought or good action that's ever lost. So when you believe that and know that there's a payback, so it's already a consolation in the present. You're living for a goal. You have meaning. You're good. It's not like, he died miserable and nothing came out of it. No, everything was collected and put on the side, and there's going to be a payback, B'ezrat Hashem. It's called simcha of the future. And it teaches Rebbe Nachman that you should connect to the simcha of the future and bring it into the present. That's a way how to be happy when there's nothing to be happy about in the present. Join your mind to the future, connect your mind to the future, borrow the simcha of the future and bring it into the present. These are the 5 ways of simcha that Rebbe Nachman talks about. We call them in Breslov the fabulous 5. Fabulous 5 advices of being besimcha. So there's a parallel between the 4 plus 1, the 5 languages of redemption, Vehotzeiti, Vehitzalti, Vega'alti, Velakachti, and then the final one, Veheiveiti, to the 5 stages of the Haggadah. Kadesh, we said, is the first cup of Vehotzeiti. The second cup of wine, which is my Magid, the stage of Magid, is Vehitzalti. Barech, on Birkat HaMazon, the third cup, is Vega'alti, and I will redeem you. Hallel, the 4th cup on the Hallel, and towards the end of the end part of the Haggadah, is Velakachti, that Hashem takes us. And then Nirtza is not what we do. Everything in the Seder of the Haggadah is what we're doing. Kadesh, Urchatz, right? Yachatz, Mara, Urchatz, Kadesh, Urchatz, Yachatz, Magid, Karpas, Yachatz. All the stages of the Haggadah is we're doing activity. But Nirtza is Hashem doing. That's like, we should be accepted. What we did should be Leratzon, should be accepted. So that's like a part that's not up to us. It's up to you, Hashem. So that's the 5th cup, which is Eliyahu Navi. We poured a cup for Eliyahu Navi. And Veheiveiti, you bring us back, Hashem, to Eretz Yisrael. Well, that's what we're waiting for. That's not in our hands. That's in your hands, Hashem. So these 5, believe it or not, each one corresponds to activating one of the 5 ways of being besimcha. So let's take a look. Kadesh, which is we take the cup and we sanctify. Okay, we sanctify the initiation of the Chag of Pesach. We're sanctifying ourselves, entering into this new level. The word Kadesh can also chas v'shalom mean something very bad. It means like an immoral woman, a kedesha. How could it be? Because kadesh means to set aside something and to sanctify it. But like Rebbe Nachman said, people are so low today. The only way to sanctify people is through silliness and acting silly and telling jokes. So mili d'shtuta, believe it or not, corresponds to the initial cup of kadesh, which is we're sanctifying. But how do we sanctify? The only way to sanctify is that we go to a domain which is ridiculous, telling jokes, acting silly, yes, it was beneath my dignity. So what? We have to get you out. You're trapped. So you go to a domain which you don't want to be in, and you elevate sanctifying a person. So this corresponds to the first cup of Vehotzeiti, because Rebbe Nachman said that the verse "Ki besimcha tetzeu," the verse from Isaiah, "For with joy you will leave." He said mainly this applies to mili dishtuta, acting silly and telling jokes. This is the main way to get people out, Vehotzeiti. So this is the first cup of wine, and this corresponds to the acts of jokes. Number 2, Vehitzalti, and Hashem will rescue. That corresponds to the second cup, which is said on Magid. And Magid, we're hoda'ah, we're giving thanks. The whole story of Magid is this expressing the thanks to Hashem, the gratitude to Hashem of all the good miracles that happened. That's the whole story of Yetziat Mitzrayim, of all the amazing things that happened that we say in the stage of Magid, and that's hoda'ah, giving thanks. Because like Rebbe Nachman teaches, when you give thanks to Hashem, that's already the act of rescuing. You're beginning to be rescued by just appreciating and admitting to it and recognizing that Hashem is responsible for saving you in life. You have what to be grateful for. You have what to be thankful for. You can't say, "Oh, I'm always miserable." No, there are things that everything basically is what to give thanks to. Just you don't appreciate it. So the point of Magid is when the Jews are in such a low point, like they were in Egypt, then they can give thanks for every tiny thing. And that's how a Jew has to be in life, to be able to give thanks to everything. And this is how a person is rescued. So Vehitzalti, the second language, which is the second cup on Magid, is hoda'ah. Number 3, Vega'alti, to be redeemed. This, Rebbe Nachman teaches the power of nekudot tovah, the power of a zamra. Rebbe Nachman's most powerful lesson, lesson 282, Likutey Moharan, the lesson about finding the good points, to be able to sing to Hashem out of finding the good. This is the cup, the third cup on Birkat HaMazon. Birkat HaMazon, we're now blessing Hashem for the Mazon. The Mazon is nourishment, and that's become internalized when a person has eaten. So the good nutrients in the food become a part of the person. Meaning, when eating in holiness, when saying a bracha before you eat and gaining energy, the nutrients, this becomes technically on a physical level and on a spiritual level, new good points that have become a part of you. So the idea of Birkat HaMazon, blessing Hashem on Birkat HaMazon, I'm blessing Hashem for the good points that become a part of me, and that's the first bracha ala aretz ala mazon, on the land of Israel and on the mazon, right? And then the bracha on blazing for the land, aretz mazon. Sorry, azan et hakol. Hashem blesses all of creation. That's the first blessing. Second one on blessing over the land, and now we have koach to ask Hashem to rebuild the temple because of the good points that we have internalized by eating. So the third cup is Vega'alti. There's a redemption here. We redeemed holy sparks that were in the food and became a part of us, and now we're blessing Hashem with that energy of those holy sparks, and it's Vega'alti, it's a redemption, and this idea of finding the good points, sifting the good from amongst the bad, which is the battle, but it's there. There's a good gem hidden, covered up with all types of darkness and shmutz, etc. And the idea of finding good point is now sifting and finding it, and wow, I have a value here. There's something positive here. That's number 3. Number 4, Velakachti. Hashem takes us out. He pulls us out. Okay? How does Hashem pull us out? With our hands. Hallel is when we're singing and dancing. Of the Seder night, believe it or not, the bulk of the singing is in Hallel. Almost every paragraph of the Hallel is sung. In Haggadah, there's a part to read. Even though in the Haggadah, the Magid part, there's a lot of singing, but there's also, you're explaining. You have to explain the story. Some people say it out loud. They scream it. In Breslov, they have a tradition to say very loudly the part of Magid, the Haggadah, the part of Magid. But now Hallel is really emotion expressed in singing and dancing and clapping, whatever. So this is the idea of Hallel, and this is where Hashem takes us. Hashem pulls us out with our hands, because we're now using our hands in Hallel and singing and praising to Hashem. So those are the 4. The final one, which is the joy of the future, that's the most difficult one. That's why there's no cup corresponding to it, because we can't really actualize it fully, because we're just hoping for the joy of the future. The best we can do is to hope for it, to yearn for it, nirtza, to want it to happen. But on a practical level, this is the most difficult level of simcha. It's the highest one and the most difficult one. That's why we pour kapra leonavi, as if to say we're waiting for Eliyahu Navi and Mashiach. He's the predecessor of Mashiach to come to activate the fifth cup of Veheiveiti and bring us back to the Holy Land. So we see from this the 4+1 cups of the night of the Seder is in order to internalize and activate each of the 4+1 ways Rebbe Nachman reveals to activate simcha in our life. And the goal of the Seder night is to carry with us for the rest of the year and the rest of our life these 4 activities of being besimcha. Number 1, jokes, silliness. Number 2, giving thanks to Hashem. Number 3, the good points. Number 4, hand clapping, dancing, singing, okay? And number 5, which is the hardest one, but really the greatest one, is the simcha of the future. May we all have an amazing Pesach, a happy Pesach. Rebbe Nachman teaches that if you have simcha, that leads to having a kosher Pesach. In Yiddish they say, a freilichen and kosherin. You should have a happy and kosher. In Hebrew they say, chag kasher v'sameach. But what makes more sense really is the Yiddish version, where we say first, how we have a happy Pesach, because the happiness Rebbe Nachman teaches leads to having a kosher Pesach. He says the Purim, the simcha of Purim, protects you from eating chametz on Pesach. So the key for having a kosher Pesach is the simcha activated from Purim already. So we say first simcha and then kosher, because the key to having a kosher Pesach is not going crazy, oh my God, and nervous and upside down. It's having simcha, activating simcha, and that opens the doors for the kosher to happen.